Welcome to UNCAGED, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Himashi Soriano. Hi, Himashi.
Hi, Bant. How are you? Great to be
I'm
here.
really well, Himashi. Thank you for joining us on Cage today. Himashi is the APAC Managing Director for the Association for Financial Professionals. We're going to be talking a little bit about what the AFP actually works on. We'll be touching on some stuff about upskilling as well. But before we get into all of that, Himashi, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Yeah, sure. As Bant said, I'm Himashi Soriano. I live with my husband and two daughters in the amazing city of Singapore, where I serve as a managing director of APAC for the Association for Financial Professionals, AFP. So I began my career in corporate marketing, and then I moved over to the association not-for-profit space. I stayed in marketing for many years because it was what I knew. It felt safe. There weren't a lot of opportunities to advance at my organization. So I did what many people do in my position, and that was to get more education. So I earned an MBA from Johns Hopkins University in the US. And really my biggest takeaway, I think, from that experience was learning to step out of my comfort zone. The MBA did a lot of that. There was a lot of public speaking that I was never really comfortable with, a lot of projects that required working in teams and collaborating. So I really gained a great deal of technical knowledge, but the program really made it safe to take risks and develop soft skills and the confidence I needed to really move forward. So I made the jump from marketing to business development and sales. And I have to say that upskilling and getting my MBA really gave me the confidence and credibility to take on these new responsibilities. I was building the strategy for my newly formed sales division. And our focus was really to grow the AFP certifications, AFP as a whole, and training worldwide. So we knew that Asia made the most sense as a first step for global expansion. So in 2019, my family and I relocated to Singapore from the US,
That's awesome.
where I head up AFP's Asia division.
Well, I got to tell you, Singapore is probably one of my favorite places in the world. I've only had amazing experiences there. And so I'm very jealous of you. And so, Himashi, I'd love to know a little bit more about just kind of the Association for Financial Professionals, what you guys are working on specifically, and some of the stuff that might excite you right now.
Yeah, sure. Well, so I'm building the business here in APAC. So I pretty much have my hands in everything. So everything is kind of different day to day. In the Association for Financial Professionals, we are a professional society. We're a certifying body. And really our mission is to advance the success of finance professionals and their organizations. So we have some great stuff. I'm working on some exciting projects. One thing I'm really excited about is this Financial Planning and Analysis, also known as FP&A, advisory council that we established about a year ago. So our members are leaders in FP&A from corporate finance teams all over Asia Pacific. We meet often to share expertise, thought leadership, network, and really better understand how FP&A is helping to shape decision-making in organizations. So the FP&A Advisory Council helps AFP better understand how to serve our community here in the region.
And by FP&A, that's financial planning and analysis, right? Really focused on kind of sustainability focused planning, correct?
So FP&A is anyone that in a corporation that focuses on budgeting, forecasting, data analytics, which is such a huge kind of skill needed within corporate finance teams. So it's really those people that are helping to drive the organization forward, identify opportunities, really help with productivity and growth.
So, put the whole association's efforts and what you guys are working on into kind of a broader context for me. I mean,
Sure.
what are the challenges in the financial space right now in Asia? Is there a real struggle to get commonality and, to use the same tools for financial planning and analysis? What's the challenge and what's the
Um,
opportunity?
so I think the biggest challenge we're facing is obviously the global pandemic.
Mhm.
Aside from digital transformation and kind of technology, because technology really isn't the answer. It's how your team is formed and do you have the right skills on the team. But going back to kind of the global pandemic, because I think that's really the biggest
Yeah.
challenge that companies and individuals are facing. And there's really so many levels of uncertainty. We're nearly 2 years into this, and the light at the end of the tunnel kind of feels different depending on where you are in the world. So I think that, I think the bottom line though is we're all kind of interconnected. So at AFP, we really feel the pain of our members, our certification holders, and our organizations. And our duty and our commitment is to be a knowledge and education resource that helps businesses see their way out of difficult times, and really to upskill finance and treasury professionals who are really helping guide the ship with their expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've almost kind of really captured the next area that I was hoping to touch on, which is the pandemic. I mean, certainly we have lived through this crazy moment, and I would say that it's still very much impacting us in every area of business. From the U.S. construct, if you look at all the boats off of Long Beach, we know that that's impacting trade, and certainly certain markets are still badly impacted. And I can imagine that it impacts this financial planning efforts. Really knowing really knowing how to plan for your company is a real trick. What's a good example of some of the, like, a key challenge that your members have faced during the pandemic with the work that they do?
I think that a lot of companies were in survival mode,
Mm,
and it really it opened up transparent. It was more transparent in terms of, do you have the right people? Do you have the right skills on staff? Because it was such a dire situation. And
hmm.
before the pandemic, training was kind of on the wish list. It was a kind of a nice to have. But you realize when you're in so much uncertainty and in such unprecedented times that if you didn't have the right people and the right skills on your team, it was a very, you were in a very challenged position. And
Hmm.
I think AFP has done a great job at this. And you had to make adjustments to your strategies and tactics. And, you have to constantly be on your toes, and making sure that as many organizations had to do was, pivot. The days of what we knew as stability have become a luxury like we can't afford. And some people will thrive in this new paradigm, but unfortunately others will not. So, being a nimble and creative organization that has and AFP has done a great job at this, and really addressing the stresses brought on by the pandemic.
Yeah, and now I can imagine that if the AFP works like many other major trade associations, traditionally you would probably have meetings in person, I would imagine. And living in this world where we're all working virtually, how has that impacted how you guys operate the association?
Yeah, I think, a lot of companies that were doing, whether it was face-to-face meetings or face-to-face conferences, education is still important, and making sure that you have access to resources, and you just have to shift, and you have to adjust to the current environment. And we have an annual conference that we do every year. And this year we were able to bring it back to in person, which we were
Oh,
very excited
great.
about. So, it's just about being adjusting and pivoting. But, you talked a little bit about technology, and I think technology has opened the floodgates of data and the
Right.
need to not only analyze, but understand interpret, and apply it. So this is, what this means for organizations is specialized skills, as I mentioned earlier. And this is where AFP kind of comes in. A consequence of the age of data is that more resources are shifting to data analysis. Automation will eventually handle more traditional, accounting functions. So this is why FP&A, financial planning and analysis is really driving the future of corporate finance, and why we developed our FP&A-C certification in 2014. So both our certifications, the CTP, which is a Certified Treasury Professional, and the FP&A-C, which is the Certified Corporate Financial Planning and Analysis Professional, are ways that individuals can upskill and provide more value to their organizations.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I was going to ask a little bit more about, one of the things I know that you focused a lot on, and certainly the certification that you've just taken us through is a great example of it, is efforts to upskill. And I completed a PhD in 2020 in machine learning. And one of the areas that was shocking to me was how little planning was happening to upskill workforces to a world where machine learning would be a part of business. And so it's great to hear that you're adding these certifications. What other areas does upskilling take place for you guys, and how else is it impacting what you guys are working on at the association?
It's mainly our certifications, and one project I'm working on is building partnerships across APAC with training companies in an effort to help those that want access to exam review courses for AFP certification. It's really exciting to bring both of our certifications to the APAC region, because it really does differentiate corporate finance and treasury practitioners from their peers. There's a real hunger out there for this. And, in this new age of data, we're able to offer certifications and training that align with where the world is right now and where it will be in the future.
Yeah. Let's kind of use that future focus to jump on to the next question I really want to ask you about, which is, I know that we're in the thick of this pandemic still, clearly, but as things start to clear up in shape, I read a very optimistic article in The Economist today telling me that 2022 might return to us to normal a little bit more, which was it made me smile a little bit. But how do you see next year taking shape for you guys?
Let me talk. I'll talk specifically next year, and then talk, mainly just more about the future. And I think it's hard, and I'm going to take it outside of AFP's kind of scope, but I think it's hard to talk about hope for the future and not think about, the economic, political, environmental, social challenges, we're facing. And I'm a wife, a mother of 2 young children, and I want my daughters to inherit a better world. So we all have a lot of work to do, and kind of a big hole to dig out of. We face big problems, and we all really, it's like an all hands on deck, situation to solve them. But my hope for the future is more equity. I think more inclusiveness in the marketplace of ideas. I think we need more diverse voices from every sector of society, no matter their ethnicity, country of origin, religion, gender, age, to solve these problems. So I'm hopeful, though, for the first time in history, that this may happen. If no other reason, then we simply have no choice but to come together. So that's my aspirational hope, as a wife, mother, and kind of citizen of this planet. But with respect to AFP in Asia, my hope is no less aspirational. So, we talked a little bit about data. You were talking about machine learning. That is really about the 4th industrial revolution. And I think that's in itself is an aspirational goal. And it's about creating less dependence on the old ways that have caused the problems that we're in, really, and to make the most of innovation and technology to create better businesses, better societies, and better economies. So a critical component to the rise of the 4th industrial revolution will really be focused on digital readiness. there is an increased pressure on CFOs and corporate finance leaders to address this. And this is where FP&A, which we have talked about a lot, that it can really help. And I say that because digital finance skills are the most relevant in corporate finance right now and for the future. So my hope is for FP&A to grow, specifically here in Asia Pacific, for practitioners to earn their FP&A C certification. I hope to see more organizations leverage these skills for their own good, because the decisions that come from the ability to understand data, really, it has unlimited potential for more efficient and kind of sustainable outcomes.
Yeah, I want to just kind of ask one more follow-up question, which is really about that sustainability piece. You have all of these benchmarks which look at governance, sustainability, the ESG, goals, financial goals that companies try to structure. Are you seeing companies really take that stuff into account now in their planning efforts?
We are. I know, especially in Asia Pacific, a lot of governments are really, focused on that and encouraging corporations, incentivizing corporations to do so. Because again, at the end of the day, we all live on this planet, and not just environmental, but everything, like it, from supply chain to how companies operate. I think it's such an important focus that that we're seeing a lot of that investment and resources going towards sustainability. Absolutely.
Well, Himashi, thank you so much for joining us on Uncaged today. We've been speaking with Himashi Soriano. She is the Managing Director in APAC for the Association for Financial Professionals. We've been speaking to her about all of the efforts that they're making to really deliver stronger certification, stronger training, stronger upskilling for the financial community in Asia, and really prepare businesses for the present challenges that we're facing and the future, which will definitely incorporate lovely things like machine learning and sustainability. Himashi, if someone wanted to reach you, where should they find you?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn, Himashi Soriano. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and afponline.org is our website. So please visit our website and learn more and see how we can help you in your career.
Great. Well, Himashi, thank you so much for being on Uncaged. We look forward to talking to you again.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Cheers.